Good morning, Rabbi Westside. Leilu Nishmas Chaim Elefant. Heading to Chicago for the Siyum later this week, representing MDY Miami. Hopefully the video makes it to you. Michael, Chesel, Peretz, Chesel, and Herman, intellectual property lawyers. Check this out, Rabbi Westside, the life in Miami. It's shver matziv. It's tough.
Good morning, Rabbi Shai. It's Yeshua here in Riviera Beach, Florida, at the Island Off-Road Jeep and Music Festival. I'll see you Thursday.
You left. You didn't hear what he said. That part, yeah, but listen to the geschmack. No laughing now.
Good morning, Rabbi Shai. It's geschmack to do the Daf here in Riviera Beach, Florida, at the Island Off-Road Jeep and Music Festival. I'll see you Thursday in Chicago as we finish Nazir. Shprintzy
25 people are flying into Chicago, over 130 registered to the Chicago Siyum. Steve Jakubowski did not register yet, and he's a big part of the Daf. Ari Kirshner, who happens to be my stepbrother, did not register yet. Who? Steve? Oh, Lewis Colum did not register yet. So we have 133 people. Rabbi Isai, come out. Even if you don't want to, you better be there. Powdered ginger or fresh, asks Ya'akov Zeret. Love the Chazara program. Making some charoises, Reb Eli's recipe. He's learning. We're learning recipes. I think it's powder. Well, who has fresh? What fresh? This is the Chabura that gets together every Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos Mevorachim. Some of them are all decked out. Gewaldige stuff. Now, this is a tremendous inspiration to anybody. This is Peretz Chaim Levine at the Passaic Mall. Here he is trying to convince people. As I walked into Brookhaven Mall in Passaic earlier today, I see Peretz Chaim standing up next to a poster trying to get them to sign up. He asked me if I want a free Gemara, and I said it's free for sure. When asked if I do the Daf of the Rebelli, I hesitated. I told him I used to, but it fell off the bandwagon ever since the most recent job switch, which changed my schedule. But then when I saw one of the excuses on the poster that read, I'm too busy working in no time, and I told him, sign me up. Looking forward to amazing Geshmaka journey on Soita. Chakoshev Sameach, enjoy Chicago, and send regards to all my Schnell cousins. Vikitzer, Tzvika, Vechulu. Okay. Here's another person that signed up, not exactly sure his name. Dear Belly, I took it out Vidafka. As we near the completion of another Masechta, Reb Nachman, I was thinking about you when I read this. Do you like this line or not? There's a line here that I thought was very chashuv, but it could be. As we near the completion of another Masechta, I want to share with you the following. I don't know if the shir changed my life, and in parentheses, my friends claim it did. It definitely changed my death. Imagine dying without all the Torah you taught me.
That's an amazing one.
Oh, you like it? Okay, I wasn't so sure. Okay, I liked it. Again, I don't know if it changed my life. It definitely changed my death. Imagine dying without all the Torah you taught me. And of course, the chiyus and geshmak you get from your shir. We daven for geshmak and learning every day. And all you have to do is tune into your shir. My only concern is that I mess up my kid's future. My 7-year-old wants MDY for Afikoimen. May continue to inspire the thousands of Yomi Yidden Anonymous from MDY, the MDY planet. It says on top, Yaakov Friedman. Oh, I put his email by mistake, so you erased that. Okay. Mom is not anonymous anymore. I live in Toronto, and I've been a member of MDY since Moed Katan Baruch Hashem, introduced with tremendous gratitude by Mayor Planka. My father, Zechariah, was nifted 49 years ago at the age of 50 of a heart attack. I was 11, the youngest of 4 boys, and our mothers struggled to take care of us, as my father was the busy engineer with no will. Little savings and no life insurance. That makes me passionate about my 31-year career in life insurance, helping families. That's not why I'm writing. Every Rosh Hashanah since I was young, I have davened that I can make a siyum on my father's yard side. And 98% of the time I have failed and felt horrible. Joining MDY has been a true nechama. Making a siyum with gratitude for my father, Zechariah on his yard side, Trusham Purim, and my mother, Zechariah Yud Shvat, for the past 2 years has been my most wonderful prized accomplishment. Thank you for making it easy, enjoyable, and consistent. You're truly a superhero to all the balabatim like me, and more importantly, you have helped Yosem, who will always be that 11-year-old boy, make his parents and his family proud. P.S. My son Binyamin, who's studying in the Mir, joined the Daf for Nazir because of me. Baruch Hashem Shkoyach. Look forward to finishing Shas together with Hashem. Mark Halpern. P.S. Attaching an article that was written about me in Mishpacha magazine last year, where I gave a shout out to you and MDY, Mark Halpern, CEO wealthinsurance.com Incorporated. Westside. The CEO in Manchester from Sechtes Nazir, Thursday, the 30th of March. Guess at who? At Yossi Dahari's home. Free admission. Sponsorship welcome. I was debating whether to show this or not. You're not going to like it so much. But I like it. I have to show it. Because it's on Purim night. And it's very important. It moved me, this one. Before the party, got to do the daf. Sophia Simantov Aronov.
This is Purim night. First, we got to do the daf.
Gotta do the daf. Stark, no? Okay. To be debated later. Zokt. The sponsorships. We have 4 sponsors for today. The Koilel. Anonymous from Lakewood. The Koilel. Reuben, Klein, and Anon, my daughter Elisa becoming a college at Tzvi Klempner from Toronto. The Masech sponsored by Maaser. The Masech sponsored by Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren, Yosef. By Anonymous. The sponsor of the month last day, Anonymous from Flatbush for continued bracha, mazel, and clarity. Sponsor of the month, Landy Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim ben Yeshעי. Parnas HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Elefant. Chaim ben Ya'akov, Shmuel, Zechariah by his Westside friends. Parnas HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim ben Moshe. Parnas HaChodesh, the MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren, Zechariah ben ybl'c Chaim Eliyahu. Chaim Oren, sometimes known as Charlie, was Elliot Mattingly's young son, just turned 1, who was nifta Thursday afternoon in Boston. Parnas HaYoim by Dan Rubinoff. Maybe he'll come to Chicago. He has a record of being at the most shiurim in different cities, besides myself and Gary. Leilu Nishmas, my father-in-law, Avraham Shmuel ben Aryeh Leyb, Alex Klein on his 3rd yahrzeit. By Alan and Shprintzy Gross in memory of our uncle's yahrzeit, Zechariah Nishmas Chaim ben Moshe Yehuda Levi ben Genauer. Everyone needing refuah shleima, parnasa, shidduch, and success, may we greet Mashiach soon. And by Tzvi Klempner, refuah shleima for Rafal Isaac ben Tzipora undergoing bladder cancer surgery today. I don't know if that was supposed to be in there. Okay, I guess it was. Dart of the month for a complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. So Rabbi I showed you Peretz Chaim Levin in Passaic Mall. How many people did he recruit? He was very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. I'm serious. Disappointed. He only recruited 22 people. 21 more than Mendy yesterday. Mendy recruited a guy. So I told him, I said, don't be so disappointed. That's more than most people recruit in their lifetime. 22 people he brought to Torah. If half of them stick around for the Masechta, Shas, the Schusim are unbelievable. Rabbi Yisai, we had a sponsor for the Gemaras, but because so many people are signing up, an extra 100 people signed up yesterday, more than we. So we're looking for sponsors for Gemaras. If you want, $35. It's unbelievable. The ROI, return on investment, $35. Anybody want? I forgot where to go. Yosef, where do you go to sponsor Gemaras? Sponsors GemarasMDY.com? No. I love new domain names at nasanalgans.com. Don't worry, he doesn't watch the shir. Oh yes, he does. I'm gonna get it right after the shir. What? What's the name? You forgot? Okay, sponsor MDY.com, something like that. Whatever. Go to this. Where do you sponsor Gemaras? We used to do it all the time. Okay, fine. Okay. You're also confused. Okay. Rabbi, we're holding my brand new Mishnah. Oh, I forgot to put the thing in here. Where is it? Where's that? Okay, so it's not here today. So I'm going to put this over here. Okay. Brand new Mishnah Daf Samach Beis, Amud Beis. Sponsored by official L'Refuah Shlema of Avraham Menashe ben Chana Bracha. We're talking about a Eved slave. Ovar Mikeneged Panov. If the slave ran away, He made a Nazirus. He said, I'm going to be a Nazir. And we said that the master, whenever he feels like, he could force him to drink wine even though he's a Nazir. He'll make it up later. After he goes free, he'll make it up. But the slave didn't ask any questions. He ran away. Reb Meir says he can't. He's still a Nazir. Reb Yosi Omer Yishta, he should drink. What's going on here? Says the Gemara, Leima b'de Shmuel k'miflagi, perhaps it's a machloikes in Shmuel, and then of course the Gemara always says when it says Leima, the Gemara says no, it's not. Do'amar Shmuel, hamafkir avdo yotz l'cheirus v'intzor get shichrur. This is an amazing halacha. And we know in order to free a slave, you have to write him a document, a shtar. There's a way to get out of it. If a person says that he's hefker, the slave is hefker, so he goes out to freedom without a shtar. So the Gemara wants to say that the same thing happens by us. He ran away, so there's something called yiyush. He gave up. He's never going to find him again. Never find him again. That's like hefker. Hefker, he goes out. And therefore what? Rabbi Meir Islay the Shmuel. Rabbi Meir holds like Shmuel that he's gone. He's a free slave. And therefore what? As we said a second ago, if a slave becomes free, he has to make up for all the times his master forced him to drink wine. In other words, he has to start over as Nazirus. So therefore, Meir says in the Mishnah, La yishta. He shouldn't drink wine because he's a Nazir today. Rabbi Yosi, let's like the Shmuel. Rabbi Yosi doesn't hold of Shmuel. Maybe perhaps that's a machlokes. And therefore he could drink wine because his master said he should drink. And he's still a slave according to Rabbi Yosi maybe. Loi. Everybody agrees to Shmuel that if somebody's mafker a slave, he goes out l'cheirus. Over here, it's not hefker. Over here, there's no yush. The man who says he should drink wine, he says at the end of the day, he's coming back. He's not miyayish, there's no yush. He's not making his slave hefker and free. And since he's not free, he can't drink wine. He should drink wine in order that he doesn't become weak. Like we said yesterday, people who don't drink wine are weaklings, wimps. And he wants a nice geschmack slave. Okay, fine. It's a joke about shikayim. We'll leave it for a different time, maybe. Unbelievable. The other man says, no, let him not drink. Let him get weak. Let him suffer. If he suffers, he's not going to have wine. You know what? They'll come back. I'm reading this. I'm thinking to myself, this is unbelievable. You have a slave. He's rowing. He's I don't know what he's doing. He's building buildings for the guy. He's schlepping, and he's doing everything like a slave. Finally gets an opportunity. He escapes. But because he can't drink a little wine, he's an alcoholic, he's going to come back. He's going to come begging back for his job. You ever heard of such a thing? That's, what do we call that? The Yitzhara. For a little nothing, for a little wine, for a little shtus, a little taiva, you come back. You forget about reality. You can be free. No, I'm going to come back because this is svara. Let's force him not to drink wine. Oh, no wine? How can I live like that? I gotta come back. Zechariah Sadoga Shochal in Israel says Rubinoff. Givaldi says the Mishnah sponsored Fuah Shleima Avraham Menashe ben Chana Brocha Nazir Shegilach v'Noidel Ashutame. So today, as usual, every daf brings us a new chiddush, a new idea, a new concept. Today, we're going to be learning about Tumas Hatahoin. Tumah that comes from the deep is a very different tumah. If we find out that there's a body that was buried under the place where I walked, and nobody knew about it, there's three conditions as we're going to see. Halacha l'Moshe Sinai, the Nazir is not tamei. Maybe somebody else is tamei, maybe somebody else has to. But the Nazir doesn't have to be soiser, he doesn't have to redo his Naziros. Why? Because there's a difference if there's a grave that everybody knew about, and a grave that nobody knew about. That's it. Halacha l'Moshe B'Sinai, called Tumas HaTohaim. So you can tell people Tumas HaTohaim. We go up to Shemayim, we can learn about Tumas HaTohaim. Why? Because we learned it now. Nazir shigilach v'nei lo yishu tomei. He went through the whole process. He brought his korbanos. He even shaved. And then they said, hey, by the way, you were in such and such place. And guess what they just found there? And that still happens all the time. They start digging, and all of a sudden, it's a basic forest here. There's a grave. If it's a known grave, he walked over. Everybody knows there's a grave there. What, you didn't see? So he has to start it in the Nazir all over. But here's the idea. If it's one of these tumas that's hidden, and the Gemara is going to explain, nobody knows about it. Even though he 100% walked above that grave, b'mitzias he walked over it. No. Nobody knew about it. It has a new halacha called Tumas HaTohaim. So, I don't have the thing here. Gary, I don't have my machine. You have to help me out here. So, we're going to go to this one right over here. Got it? Welcome back, Gary. Sorry for being here. Okay. So, here's a guy under the ground. We don't know, okay? But check this out. If you blink, you're going to miss it. This is what Yoshi did for Tumas HaTohaim, because it's actually brought down that this could be the case. He's talking about an avalanche. An avalanche killed a person, and nobody knew he was there. Here we go. That's Tumas HaTohaim. Fine. Here comes the next one. You ready? I like lit. He goes, yeah. Nachamo.
Another reason not to go skiing.
Boom. That's it. Here he comes, jumps over it. Gewaldig. Excellent. Okay. Imat sheloi gilach benkach u benkach soiser. If he found out that when he went over the avalanche, he didn't even bring his korbanos. It's before the end. It's before the giluach, before the shaving. So it doesn't matter if nobody knew about it, people didn't know about it. You went over that person, you're Tomei. I said this story recently, but it's very negiah over here. Almost negiah. I still own this property in Indianapolis called Abney. And the FBI showed up one time. I don't know if they came right away or whatever, but they showed up there. And they said, we're looking for a certain individual that rents an apartment from you, and he hasn't been seen in a very long time. And they have information that he's on the property. Okay? So they start searching, and it doesn't go, they can't find him. Now, what happened was, the apartment that this guy rented from us burnt down. So they go into the apartment, they're looking everywhere. So they decided that he's in the property. He must be in one of the lakes. They have these retention ponds. So they sent down scuba divers and they couldn't find him. Then they said they have to empty the lakes. And they had to find this guy. We don't know why. They had to find him. They had to find his body. And they wouldn't let us renovate the apartment. It was a process of months. And finally, they said we could renovate we were going through and they showed me the apartment. We're going in, out, the whole thing. And turns out, after months, that the guy was in the apartment. He was just on the floor right when you walk in, and nobody was able to see him because he was part of... Now, that's not Tumas HaTohaim because ashes, it was ashes. After they made us meshuggah for months and months and emptied the pond and didn't empty the pond, it was mamish meshuggah. But the idea of not finding a body, okay. There was in New Orleans, in New Orleans in 1985, the city made a big party because no one died that summer in the pool. So they invited all the you're already laughing, you know the story. They invited all the lifeguards and everybody. Mom, it was a big party around the pool. And at the end of the night, they went and they did a little bit of they searched the pool like they always do at the end of the night. And there's a guy with a suit and a bow tie, completely dead, that died during the party. He was drunk, Jerome something. fell into the pool, and nobody knew it. For the entire party, he was sitting there in the bottom of the pool. By the time they pulled him out, it was over. All right. Never heard the Maaser? Okay.
Any more feel-good stories this morning?
Yeah, I actually have another one for you. Rabbi Galinsky, the famous one, I have 5 more, but I'll only tell because he asked for it. Rabbi Galinsky in the Vardik, they said, you have to work on, this month we're going to work on fear. We have no fear, only from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Rabbi Galinsky came up with the more that he did. I'm going to work on my fear? I'm going to go middle of the night into the Tahara mikveh by the Chevra Kadisha. I'm going to dunk in the mikveh with the usually the dead people. I'm going to dunk in there. So he gets undressed, goes into the mikveh, and as he goes into the mikveh, a dead man kind of comes out. So he ran home, grabbed his clothes, ran home, and he hears the next day in yeshiva, a guy goes, I had an unbelievable idea. I'm going to go to the Tahara mikveh and be toivel. And as I'm coming out of the mikveh, a dead man stepped on my hand. How's that for a feel-good story? All right, anyway. We're talking about dead people. How good could it be? Yorad Keitzad, here's the story. Yorad Litbo B'Mara V'Nimtza Meis Tzaf Al Pi HaMa'ara. So the Mishnah just goes in. A guy goes to be toivel, and he finds a dead person floating. Al Pi HaMa'ara. We're talking about tumas oil, not tumas maga. There is no, interesting halacha, there is no tumas maga, there's no touching. Maybe I touched a dead person on a floater. Okay, floating people don't have it. But there is tumas oil. If the guy is the dead person floating, he could create oil in the cave. And it's at the entrance of the cave. I'm not exactly sure if it was in the entrance, whatever, there's some sort of suffix. Tame. Why? Because he's a suffix tuma b'rshus hayachid. This cave is rshus hayachid, so he's a suffix tame. Tame. Nimsa meshuka bekarka. If he was found inside the mud, hama'ara, depends. Very interesting halacha. Yorad lahakir tar. Why did he go? What's the purpose of him going in? And what's the logic here? It depends why he went in. If he went in just to chill out, literally to chill his body, tar, lahakir, to cool himself off from the heat, tar. The tar metumas meis, tame. If he went in as a tame, he went in because, let's say, he touched the sherets, so he's tame now, so he goes in. Shcheskas tame tame, v'cheskas tar tar. If he's completely tar and he went in there just to cool off, then he's tar. Shreglayim ledavar. The machlokes Rishonim what reglayim ledavar means. The way, and we go basically according to the Rosh for the whole Masechta. The Taisus also agrees with the Rosh here that reglayim ledavar means we're talking about halacha l'moshe Messinai here. We're talking about tumas hatayim has nothing to do with logic. It's a halacha l'moshe Messinai if it's a hidden body, nobody knew about it. But in the halacha l'moshe Messinai, I could apply logic. That's how Taisus and Rosh and the Rosh learn. There's a little bit of an aspect of logic even in the tumas hatayim. In other words, I could apply. Where do you apply the tumas hatayim? Now I'm going to use my. Where do I apply the halacha l'moshe Messinai? I'll apply logic. So if he's tahar, he's going to remain tahar. If he's tamei, he remains tamei. Says Gemara Anon Ymous, how do I know this idea of tumas hatayim? Where do I see it in the pasuk? So based on what I told you, the Gemara's kasha is not even a kasha, and that's the end of the sugya. It's not a pasuk. But the Gemara wants to, before I go there, I need to show you this slide. Very, very super important. I almost forgot to show it to you. 3 Tanaim, when a Nazir becomes Tameh, he's not soiser. You might have missed one of these, so we got to see it inside. First of all, it has to be Tumas HaTayim. It has to be an unknown Tumah, a dead body that nobody knows about. Second of all, this we saw in the Mishnah, what? Covered. Yeah, covered. He's in the ground. We'll see in the Gemara. He's covered by something, by leaves. I don't know what. By rocks. He's covered, and it was only known to him after the process, after he shaved. And also, he has to be completely tahar. Okay, he can't have any tumah. He can't even have tumah sherets on him. In order to apply this halacha l'moshe Messinai of tumas hatayim, he can't have any tumah. So remember that. No tumah. It's after the tiglachas, and it's in the Tahaim, nobody knew about it. Now, this is how I did it. This is how Yoshi did it. It's Tumas HaTahaim, it's in the ground, you didn't see it. Number 2, it's, wow, look at that Tiglachas. By the way, says Avi. Yeah? What just happened? It disappeared. But you see how he shaved? Lit is shaved. So it's after the Tiglachas comes Avi factor and says, by the way, it's from that same, you have to keep cheshbon here, according to the ocean. It's the Avi factor who told 2 people, by the way, one of you went over a skull, right? So by the way, it's too late. It's already after Tiglachas. And also, he's green, he's tar. So these 3 things, then you could apply Tumas HaTahaim. Says the Gemara, I have a pasuk says Rebbe Lazar Damakro. So, very, very interesting. Carbon Pesach. Person is going, almost a Pesach. Person is going to bring his carbon Pesach, and all of a sudden he has a death in the family. Olav b'mechuveres loy. He needs to know about it. So Rebbe Lazar holds that the guy needs to know about it. Oh, sorry, no, this is Korban Pesach. Did I mess up? What's the first one? Is not. Is what? Nazir, yeah. Sorry. Completely different. Very, very different. And we're going to take these 2 psukim and use them together. Is talking about a Nazir. Now, Rish Lakish argues, he says, I have a pasuk by Korban Pesach. Yes, obviously, this is Korban Pesach. So, Rish Lakish is saying that everybody knows about it. It's not dependent on you. Rebbe Lazar is more of, you didn't know about it. So let's say you're a klutz, you walk right through a cemetery, you didn't know about it. That's Tumas HaTahaim according to Rebbe Lazar. Right now, Rish Lakish says, no, the world doesn't know about it. It's a derech, it's a certain path, and if no one knows about it, then it's Tumas HaTahaim. Ve'lohad, it's not easy Tumas HaTahaim. Kol she'einu mekireh echad b'soif ha'olam. So now the Gemara says, wait a minute. How does it fit in with the Brisa? It says, what's Tumas HaTahaim? Not even a single person knows about it. According to the Mandom, and as Rish Lakish says, that it's like a derech, it has to be like a way, shapir. Why? Because no one in the world knows it, and mamish fits in. But according to Mandom, it says that it's dependent on him. Nothing to do with the world. We don't care about anybody else. You only care about him. Who cares if one person in the world knows about it and that it's not Tumas HaTahaim? I don't care about that person. I care about me. If I don't know about it, it's a Tumas HaTahaim. V'su, now a question on Rish Lakish. I just did this one. This is not Yoshi, so forgive him for the sizing and everything. I had to do something. I did this for the next part. But anyways, if there's a dead person, obviously it's not to scale, right? But there's a Ogimel Chabashan that's right across the path. So maybe it's impossible not to go over him. So it depends. When it comes to Truma, the Klein is Tameh. Or even a Yisrael who went over that, he can't touch Truma. But the special halacha, ben Nazir, ubasiyas Pesach tahar. And that's the halacha we learned in our Mishnah. By a Nazir, if he goes over it, he's tar. And bringing a carbon Pesach. A person brought a carbon Pesach. You hear? He already brought the carbon Pesach, but he didn't finish it with his Rika tahar. It's a good carbon Pesach. It doesn't have to bring another carbon Pesach by Pesach Sheni. Maishna. But if you're learning it out from a pasuk, I have a pasuk by Nazir. I have a pasuk by Korban Pesach. What's the difference? Truma, this, that, everything. You're going to say Shnei Truma. Okay, fine. So he does whatever. Elo Tumas HaTahaim. Says Gemara. Finally, Tumas HaTahaim. Gemara Gemirla. This is Allah Chalom Yishim Sinai. We don't ask any questions. It was said only by Nazir and by Pesach and Truma not. Imagine Gilach. Says Gemara Mantana. Who? This whole idea, who's the Tana that says it? This goes according to Rabbi Eliezer, the Omar tiglachas ma'akeves, that it's the shaving of the hair, not the zrika of the carbon, and that's why it fits right into our Mishnah. Because if you look at the first word, look at the top of the Omar, Nazir shegilach. The key word is a haircut. According to Chachamim, that's not the key word. The key word is zrika. The carbon is the zrika, nothing to do with tiglachas. Tiglachas eina ma'akeves. According to Eliezer, tiglachas ma'akeves. So it fits right into the Mishnah. Okay. So now we have a shaila. A very interesting shayla. A lamdish shayla. Nitma b'toich milois. Milois means when a person is a Nazir, he's counting his 30 days, whatever his Nazirus is. He finds out that he's tamei. He stepped over. He went skiing, smack in the middle of his Nazirus. On day 20, he went skiing over, and he finds out. Oh, you didn't chap. There's a whole avalanche last year. They never found the bodies. You went over it. Oh, which reminds me, mamish ma'aseh. And this I said also, but not so long. I told the Oilmer. I just remembered. I was flying with my wife once to, I forgot, to Eretz Yisrael somewhere, and a couple of seats in front of me, I see doctors rushing this, that. It turns out the guy is dying. He died. So what do they do with him? They have body bags on the plane. This is special for you because you asked for these kind of stories. They take the body, they put it in the body bag. It was gross. Right in front of me, 2 seats in front of me, and they put him where? Right next to me, in the kitchen. So they close off the kitchen, the curtain, and they put the body on the floor. Every time I peek over, he's still there. They land in New York. The EMS comes on. They want to see if he has a pulse. I said, Rabid. He's not such a yid. Rabid. The guy's in a body bag for 7 hours. So even if he had a pulse when they put him in, he l'chayr doesn't have one right now. Yeah? Okay, fine. They left. We come to the luggage. I see a woman there. She happened to be sitting right next to me. I said, wow, what a flight. She goes, yeah, it was a great flight. I said, no. She goes, what? What are you talking about? I said, the dead body. What? I said, tell her the whole story. Are you kidding me? So where did they put him? I said, in the kitchen. Oh, you got to be kidding me. I stepped on this garbage in the kitchen. I went from side to side and felt a little, I promise you, that's what she said. She said she felt like mushy. She stepped on this body. Anyways, Tumas HaTahim. She had no idea, according to the Shloim. Maaser Shaya. So, do we go by when you found out? So I told her about it a few hours after it happened. You see, that's why I remembered. She was tamei. She stepped on the body, but she didn't know. She thought it was a bag of garbage. It was in the way, so she had to step on it. So does it go by when you find out, and this person found out after the Nazirus was over? Okay, so he doesn't have to shave again. Or does it go by, but what I just said is not so accurate. What's the nafkamina in the two things? Rabbi said, what's the nafkamina? You learned this? So listen, very big nafkamina. If it goes by when the Nazirus is over, and you touch the body, how many days are you tamei for? How far back do you have to go in your Nazirus until you bring korbanos? Only 7 days. Why? Because you're a regular tamei, and a regular person that's tamei has to wait 7 days. But if it happened during the Nazirus on day 20, how many days do you have to go back? 30. Very good. That's a big nafkamina. So does it go by when it happened or when you found out? Huge nafkamina. Lemai, lemistar. How many days do you go back? 7 or 30? Daf Amud Beis, sponsored Atzlacha Vayirlei Ben Aliza Simcha Sheina Masha and Aliza Simcha Sheina Masha Bad Bracha La'Atzlacha V'the Magid the members of the HBA group and their families. Amen. Omar Rava Toshma says Rava, I can prove it from our Mishnah. Imat Shaloi Gilach. If he found out before he shaved, Benkach uBenkach Soiser, he has to go back. Now the Gemara over here doesn't say how much he goes back. He has to go back. Okay. Says Rava, what's the case? If it happened during his Nazirus, on day 20 of his Nazirus, and he found out that he went over that person, I need a Mishnah to tell me that. As Taisvis, of course I need a Mishnah to tell me that. Why? Because it's Tumas HaTahim. What do you mean, tzricha l'meimar? If there's a body in the middle of the street, and I stepped over it, it's on a plane, and I stepped on it, and somebody told me you stepped on it, of course I don't need a Mishnah to tell me that you're tamei. But over here, the body's in an avalanche. Nobody ever knew it existed. And I went over it, and it happened to be in the middle of my Nazirus, and somebody said, hey, by the way, you went skiing on Trail 1, and I said, yes, and this is in Trail 1, they just found a bunch of bodies from an avalanche. Tzrich l'meimar. You need to tell me a chiddush that he's tamei? Of course I need to tell you a chiddush he's tamei. He's in an avalanche. Avalanche is different than a body in the street. That's Tumas HaTahim. Says Taisves, because that I could have learned from the first words of the Mishnah. And I don't need the rest. The rest of the Mishnah is extra. It says, Nazir shegilach v'noida lo yishu tamei. It was known to him that he's tamei when he's migalech. So I could be medayik that if he wasn't migalech, then not. Okay. I'll go upon him. Just ayin and taisvis. I'm just bringing it up. Fine. Elulav says, Rava la'achar melois. It must be that he found out about it after his Nazirus is over. Shmamina. That it goes by when you find out. You find out. So even if you found that after Nazirus, even if you found that after Nazirus, you still have to go back. Va'adayin tibarlach, says the Gemara, but you didn't, Rava didn't address the problem here. Kuli soiser, shiva soiser. The shaila was, does he go back 7 days or 30 days? Yes, the Mishnah says soiser, but how much? Says Gemara Laman. Ilem el Rabbanon, pshita the kula soiser. Rabbanon, if we're talking about on day 31 over here. Rabbanon say no matter what, you go back 30 days. So it doesn't really matter when he became Tameh. You go back 30 days. So, but you say it goes according to Rebbe Lezer, it makes a difference. 7 or 30. Kol achem elois, shiva soiser. Even if you became Tameh in the Melois, you found that you only go back 7. So no, over here is different. Because over here, if you became Tameh after the 30 days, according to Rebbe Lezer, you only go back 7. He finished his Nazirus, and then he became Tameh. Right? He finished his Nazirus, he didn't bring in the Karbanas, he became Tameh. Says Rebbe Lezer, you only go back 7. But over here we're talking about he became Tameh on day 20. Now what? Or maybe it goes by the knowledge, not by when it happened. Says Gemara, Umina, but from our Mishnah, we can figure it out. It says, Kotani benkach u benkach soiser. No matter what, you have to start over. How much? 7 days. So benkach u benkach, whether if you became Tameh during the Naziros, during the Melais, or whether you became Tameh after Melais, we can prove from our Mishnah, benkach u benkach, there's no difference, the Mishnah says. Either way, 7 days. You don't go back 30. Yeah. According to Rav approved. Rav according to Rebbe Lezer. Yeah. Rav according to Rav approved that we're talking about on day 31, that it happened at the end. And what? Right, that's what I said. No, but just like after Melois it's 7, so Toch Melois is also 7. There's no difference, the Mishnah says. That goof is that's the chiddush here. No? Benkach u benkach soiser, and it's the same stira. No, it's the same stira. 7. No? Okay. The idea was after, and we go, and he proved that after 31, 7. So 7, either way, it's always 7. Torah Rabbanan. So now we have a few halachas, geshmak halachas about Tumas HaToim. We'll fill in the gaps. If you find out that there was a dead person there that was laying across the entire path, l'truma tamei. If it comes to truma, you're tamei. Why? Because there's no halacha l'meshmesin on truma. Uben azar v'yiseh pesach tar. And for 2 halachas, a person going for a carbon pesach, he already brought his carbon pesach, and the Nazir, he's tar. That there's no way, the path is narrow, it's a 6-foot path, and the dead person is 6 feet, he takes up the entire path. But if there's a possibility, yes, it's up against the wall, you'd have to squeeze through, after the truma tar. Why? Why is he tar for everything, even truma? Because this is Rosh Hashanah, Safek Tumah Rosh Hashanah, Tahar. That's if they opened up the cave, the grave, and they found a whole skeleton. But if the skeleton was broken in half, let's say, so this Rabbi Yisai, I thought needs a diagram, which I did. It's again rudimentary compared to Yoshi, but look what it says here. It says almost it's hard to understand from the words what it says here. Listen to this. Mishubar or mefurak. You have a skeleton that's broken up. What's the next word? Afilu ein makim lavar. Broken skeleton, but you can't walk by. But you could walk by. How in the world? How could you walk by something you can't walk by? You can't get by it without touching a bone. I have to say, I'll be makil and say, Shema bein prokim avar. He walked through the bones. How? You can't get by. Very simple. Here's the shot. It's broken, and if you look at it from straight on, it takes up the entire path. But there is a gap. So if he went like an S, like that, and that's how people ski, you have to ski in an S. You can't go straight down the slope. You go too fast and something bad could happen. So all skiers go like this. So it works out great. Here's little lit. He went like this. Yes, it's a weird way to walk. Most people, in other words, if he would walk straight, that's what the Gemara is saying. If he would walk like a normal human being straight, impossible for him to walk over the path and not touch and not walk above a bone. But because he's walking crooked, then he could sneak through it. So again, read inside. Afilu ein makim lavar. Ein makim lavar means it's taking up the entire path, but at two different places. We have to say that maybe, perhaps, it's Tumah B'Shus HaRabim. We have a suffix. Maybe he went like this. I don't remember. I couldn't find it. I tried looking. When I was a kid, I read, maybe it was Bobby Fischer, one of the big chess champions. He was so into chess, so he used to walk like a knight, like a horse. You know, like 1 step forward, 2 steps to the right. 2 steps forward, 1 step to the right. And like because his whole head was, He'd go backwards, right. 1 step back, 2 to the left. Yes. Saying, if you're meshugana like that, and you're thinking about chess, so it's possible that you got through the bones without touching anything. Now, if it's in a grave, so Taisus explains, how do you have a grave? If you have a grave, that means there's a funeral and somebody buried him there. So Taisus comes up with somebody prepared a grave, somebody went skiing, he's going 80 miles an hour, hits the grave, dies in the grave, comes the tractor, fills it up, not knowing there's somebody in the grave. Okay, fine. Whatever it was, there's a great grave, and Memela, a grave, puts all what's in it as one. And there's a grave across the entire path. So it doesn't matter if you have bones here, bones there. The entire grave is one piece tuma and is matama, whatever goes above it. Because the grave puts everything together. That's if a person is normal, going upright. But if a person is carrying something heavy, or he's riding in an animal, if a person is standing up, it's possible he's not over on maga, yiga. He's not over on asata. Asata means, if I push this table and there's Rahman al-Islam, a dead person on the table, I become tamei just by pushing the table. And not to do oil. Check this out. I did this. This is not Yoshi. I had to steal this shtickle. Here. If a person is carrying something, so now he's a oil. Now he's moving, his body's forward. Body forward, then you most likely will create a roof over some bone in the tahaim. But if you're standing up straight like a mensch, with your, like your mother told you, with your shoulders back, it's possible to somehow weave between the bones. That's because it was not known. But a known tuma, there was a grave here, then even truma, obviously truma is tamei, but even nazirus, even korban pesach, you're all tamei. Vezi tumas hatahaim, kol shei makira, echad b'soif ha'olam. What does tumas hatahaim mean? This is the halacha l'mishmar. Nobody knows about it. Even one person in Africa. Makira echad b'soif ha'olam. If even one human being knows about it, ein zu tumas hatahaim. How do you know that? I don't know. Haya tamon b'teven or b'tzroiros. He had to be covered. So if he was covered with straw or stones, harezu tumas hatahaim. B'yamim, but if it's in water, in the ocean, he's 5 miles down, that's not Tumas HaTohaim. Why? Because once somebody comes close to it, he'll see it. Uba'afeil in the dark, that's not Tumas HaTohaim. When a kika Yisraelim, if it's buried in stones. Ain't Tumas HaTohaim. V'lo Tumas HaTohaim. Ella lemeis bilvad. The only tumah that you have Tumas HaTohaim is for dead people, not for ziva, not for shrotzim. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.